And North and his colleague come up with another concept of doorstep conditions. And when the rule of law among elites exists, and when the perpetually lived organization exists, and when the political control over the military exists, they argue that these are the doorstep conditions, and that will allow a society from transforming to an open access order, which is the equivalent of what I would call a liberal democracy. One thing I'm not so happy about the North and his colleagues' argument is that they did not elaborate on how actually non-military elite will be able to exercise their control over the military. They have identified that the rule of law among elite is one condition, and also, as I pointed out, the perpetually lived organization is also another important condition. But they did not elaborate how these two conditions will emerge without having political control over the military, and under what conditions political control over the military will emerge. If you're interested in peace building, I think this question is very critical. While the existing literature does not tell us the answer, so it will be worthwhile to explore under what conditions will the military elite be willing to place themselves under the political control by the state. And this is a critical question for peace building. We know very well that in Myanmar 2021, the Tatmadaw and their military leaders is so powerful compared to other actors, particularly the political and social elites. At the same time, the election has demonstrated that political elite can be supported by a mass people. Also, the Buddhist elite can actually be split. One group is supporting the military regime, while others are on the side of political elite or the mass people. At the same time, the military elite has a very close linkage with the economic elite in Myanmar. And young generations are now fed up with these military suppressions, and they are standing up and raising their voices. And ethnic armed organizations are fighting against the Tatmadaw and other mainstream dominations. If you recall that the military still occupies 25% of the parliament, and the rest were occupied by the NLD, which is the political elite, and only one seat was allocated or won by the election for the ethnic minorities. So for the ethnic minority to be able to protect their privileges and vested interest, at the moment they need to have their own private armies and they need to defend their rights and privileges. So if we follow the theory of North and his colleagues, we need to have a consensus if we want to build peace in Myanmar. We need to have a consensus among these different elites. The Tatmadaw, ethnic armed organizations, political elite represented by, for example, NLDs, and religious elite, the Buddhist monks, and young generations of people who are standing up and resisting against the military oppression. Before the 2020 coup, perhaps there has been some kind of consensus among the political elite and the military elite. And in 2008, Constitution was the kind of a safety net for the Tatmadaw to preserve their vested interests. They thought that by adopting the Constitution, transforming their privileges and vested interests in the form of constitutions, they thought they can preserve their privileges. But the political elite, represented by Aung San Suu Kyi, tries to amend this constitution, and Tatmadaw felt, particularly the military elite, felt that that will be the major threat to their existing interest and privileges.